A lot of wide receivers in the 2024 NFL Draft get forgotten behind the elite trio of Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Nabers, and Rome Odunze, but Florida State's Keon Coleman is one guy in the next tier of receivers that is consistently brought up in first-round conversations. He had a breakout year at FSU after transferring from Michigan State, but is his 1 year of great tape enough for him to be a first-round selection? Is he an overhyped prospect thanks to some flashy highlights, or is he truly good enough to be a wide receiver 1 in the NFL? Today, we'll be taking a look at the positives and negatives of his game to determine just how good he'll be at the next level, starting with the positives that we see on tape. Coleman had one of the most insane highlight reels out of any wideout in college football this year. He seemed to be making some crazy circus catches every single week, and it's easy to see why. He stands at 6'4", 216 pounds, which is the ideal size for an outside receiver in the NFL, and he was able to use his height to his advantage in college in a couple of different ways. The absolute best part of his game is his contested catch ability. He's able to use his big frame and background as a college basketball player to high point the football over a defender, and he may be the best prospect in winning 50-50 jump balls out of anyone over the past few years. His concentration with the ball in the air is very good, and he knows how to control and contort his body very well to put himself in a position to win through contact. Another thing that helps with that is his strong hands. Not only is he able to reach the ball in places that defenders can't get to, but he's also able to hold on to it very well when he gets his hands onto it, even if defenders are swatting at his arms or trying to jar it loose. His hands were very reliable this year, and he rarely dropped a pass, which is great to see from a young receiver. So we've established that he's big and strong, but to go with that, he's also a pretty good athlete. He's not elite after the catch, but he's capable of juking out a defender or two and fighting for a few extra yards. He's also versatile enough to be a punt returner in the NFL, which is kind of crazy considering his size. He doesn't project to be very good at it, but it's a nice bonus for any team taking him and speaks to his solid athleticism. Beyond contested catches, he's able to utilize his size in a couple of different ways. For example, when he's running routes, he tends to be physical at the point of contact with a defender, which can help throw them off balance and help him win. He also uses his body to box out defenders, which gives the quarterback a pocket to throw the ball where only he can get it. His height and long arms also give him a great catch radius and allows him to bring in passes that aren't perfectly accurate. So all of this sounds very promising, but what's the catch? Why isn't he a consensus first-round pick at this point? What's stopping everyone from crowning him as an elite prospect? Well, to find out, we'll now need to dive into the negative side of his game to see what he could stand to improve on before going to the NFL. I mentioned that his size is his biggest advantage, but it also comes with some serious disadvantages that offer concerns about his ability to produce in the NFL, with the main one being his ability to separate. He's not a very strong route runner, and he's not able to cut sharply or turn around on a dime. His movements when running to get open just simply aren't very fluid, and it seems like he rarely catches a pass where there's not a defender draped over him or where he doesn't just get schemed open. With that, he's so good at contested catches that it sometimes feels like he's not even trying to get separation. Some would argue that that's okay, since he's been successful with it in college, but we've seen what happens at the next level with jump ball receivers who can't separate very well. Another thing that offers some concern is his lack of statistical production in college. He had just 658 receiving yards in 2023, and he had 5 games where he went for under 25 yards. That's pretty concerning, and that feels like a natural byproduct of not getting open and rather relying on lower percentage contested catches for the bulk of his production. Some will say that Florida State liked to focus more on the run and had less targets to go around, but 50% of their plays were passing, which is more than teams like Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, and Oklahoma. So he definitely had enough opportunities, but he just wasn't able to capitalize on them and demand targets. There's a lot to like about Coleman. He's a decent enough athlete, and he really succeeds as a contested catch guy. He'd be the biggest wide receiver on a lot of NFL teams in his first year, and he has the skill set to match it as a jump ball master in the red zone. That's all fine and good, but I still think that he's going to be very limited in the NFL. He doesn't run very good routes and didn't consistently get separation in college, and that's likely to just get worse as he gets to the next level against tougher defenders. I think that he'll have a very defined role as a jump ball receiver, but I don't really see the path for him becoming a true alpha wide receiver 1 at the next level. I think that his reasonable ceiling is to be a player like T. Higgins, and his reasonable floor is to be a player like Kenny Golladay. He's got a similar build to both of those guys, and like we've seen with them, I think that he'll have some big games here and there, but will also disappear quite often. A lot of his production is going to rely on what type of scheme he gets drafted into and whether or not that quarterback can help him play to his strengths like Jordan Travis did at FSU. I'm giving him a mid-second round grade for the draft this year. I like a lot of what he brings to the table with his physical tools, but he still needs a ton of refinement, and I don't see him being much more than a wide receiver 2 or 3 playing a very specific role in the NFL. When you consider the rest of this draft class, I would obviously rather have the elite guys like Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Nabers, and Romo Dunze over him, but I also think guys like Xavier Legette, Brian Thomas Jr., and Troy Franklin all have very good arguments to be made over him. This year's class of wide receivers is absolutely stacked, and I think that'll lead to him slipping further down the board than most people think at this point. I will say that he has high potential and this could certainly age poorly, but with a class of wide receivers this good, I don't think that I could justify taking him in the first round if I was a GM. Regardless, he's a super fun player to watch, and I'm excited to see him take the next step in his career and continue to make ridiculous catches look easy in the NFL. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a new drop. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, goodbye.